25 nights in Europe, a rough idea of a destination, no campsites booked, no campsites planned. Can a plan fail if there is no plan? I think we've kind of screwed up searching for a girlfriend. Broken relationships. Eric would accept half a woman. Hi, it's Dave T, and those of you that may have seen our video on how we toured Sweden in a caravan last year may well recognise where I am, because I'm actually at Harwich about to catch the same boat as we did last year over to the Hook of Holland. Now, we've been caravanning for 20 odd years, and all of that time we have actually planned and usually booked the sites that we're going to stay at. At the end of last year, we actually changed over to a campervan, and one of the reasons to do it is to give us more flexibility. So in terms of this trip, we've got absolutely no sites planned, certainly no sites booked, and we're basically just going to wing it for the entire 25 nights. Now, we do have a rough idea of a destination, the country we want to try and get to, but other than that, there's nothing at all planned. We do, however, have some strategies in terms of how we're going to find campsites each day, and that's what this video is going to focus on. So if you've never toured before without a plan like us, and also if you're currently having a caravan and you're thinking about changing over to a campervan or a motorhome, this might be of interest to you as well. But in the meantime, I've got a ferry to catch. So it's 1:15. We've done about 150 miles so far today after docking this morning at the Hook of Holland. We're in Germany, kind of around Cologne, and this is the first test of our first strategy. The idea is to stop around midday and then ideally swap to minor roads, but generally speaking, look around and work out where we're going to aim for. We found a site on Park for Night. There's a couple of sites around Koblenz, so we're going to head towards a site that's near there. It seems to have pretty good write-up. Haven't done a lot of research about it at all, but it's there. It's 75 miles. That will take us to 225 miles today, which is fine in terms of our overall strategy, in terms of getting to where we want to go, in terms of how many miles we need to cover per day. Anyway, right, off we go, and let's try and find this campsite. So, as it turned out, the campsite did actually have space. I believe it had 3 or maybe 4 spaces which they offered us. So in terms of the first attempt at the kind of midday rule of basically just picking a campsite on Park for Night or wherever and just heading for it, first one worked off. Obviously that may not be what happens every time. We got here about 3, 4 o'clock, maybe just gone 4 actually, and I think that's probably as late as we'd ever want to leave it. So the idea going forward is going to be at lunchtime, so 1 o'clock or so, start looking for somewhere that's not too far away, because we found somewhere that's like 75 miles away, so a good hour and a half, 2 hours with traffic. We did have a major, well, I thought we had a major issue with the van. At first I thought the electric step was broken. Turned out it wasn't that. It seemed like more the entire electrical system was down. As it turned out, absolute schoolboy error, the isolator switch on the battery had been switched off accidentally. The isolator wasn't isolating the solar, and therefore as soon as we went past the 4 watts that the solar panel was just about producing, it tripped out, and then of course came back again because the solar panel came back with a bit more power after everything was turned off. So yeah, a lot of scurrying around and phone calls trying to work that one out, but that's sorted now, so touch wood, we should be okay. But other than that, I'm going to enjoy a walk along the Mosel River behind me. I think it's Mosel. turns out we'd gone past Nuremberg. Sorry. As I was saying, basically, we'd found a site on Park for Night. We were trying a new strategy, which is find a site and phone ahead. However, we decided not to phone ahead straight away because we weren't sure how much progress we'd make. And then when we did phone ahead, they had space. Deb phoned up. Unfortunately, we'd suddenly realised that by then, Deb's trying to get the gate to work. Yes, okay, the gate is going up, great. So by then, we'd actually got as far as east, I think it's Nuremberg, and the campsite we'd phoned up and reserved on was west, so we'd be going 37 miles in
your destination is on your right.
So instead we found another one nearby, again on Park for Night, and it's now 5 to 6. She said it's a very beautiful pitch. I'm sure it'd be quiet. Yes, so as I was saying, we found another one, turned up at just almost 6 o'clock, and reception was shut. We thought we were going to be stuffed, but there was a emergency number, phoned them and booked on okay numbers. So we've got a pitch. They're going to pop up after she's had her tea to take payment, but other than that, we're on. I'm just back onto the pitch now, so I will talk to you later, but that's how not to do it, but it worked out for us. I thought this was going to be a really uneven pitch. I've just checked, we've got a spirit level bubble. I recommend getting one, stick it to the floor, they're really good. But I've just checked it looks like it's almost spot on, so put the levelers down, stop the van bouncing around, but other than that, looks like we're set for the night. That's the result. So we're here in Rottenburg, still in Germany. So I'm here to visit this museum and do a bit of filming there for this other film that I'm making. In terms of the trip, the journey today was much more relaxed. We got up reasonably early. We left the site by 9. Strategy for today, we were going to actually phone ahead and book ones, but the museum doesn't open till 1 o'clock, so we're going to go to the museum at 1. We'll only be there an hour or 2, so we should be clear of here by about 3. And there's at least 2 or 3 sites in the direction we're planning on going that are not that far away, probably about 10 miles away, if that. So we shouldn't have too much difficulty driving to one of those. At some point, this kind of like just drive up and try your luck thing has to stop working, because at the moment we're 2 for 2. See what happens, as jinxed it. So for now, we're going to head off to the museum, do some filming, and I'll see you when we get to the next site, if we can find one. We've just been to the Radio Museum here in Rottenburg. Peter Markov, the guy that actually runs the place, he spoke English, so thank you so much, Peter, for putting up with my lack of German skills. Whilst I was looking at that, Deb was sitting with some lovely German ladies trying to converse via Google Translate and having a whale of a time, I think. From a point of view of making films whilst I'm away, it's one of those things where it gets you to go to places you wouldn't necessarily ordinarily go to, and into situations and speaking to people, and it really was a very fun afternoon. We've got to go and find a campsite for this evening, so we're back to campervanning mode now. We've got 2 or 3 in mind, I think I mentioned earlier, so we're going to put those into Sightseeing, which we're using for navigation. We found them on Park for Night, and in Park for Night you can just select it, choose navigate, and it'll give a list of all of the navigation apps that you've got on your device. We're using Sightseeing, and then we'll head to the first one. If we can get on, that'd be great. If not, we'll head to the second, and after that we'll see what happens. But for now, hit the road, haven't got far to go, probably about 15-20 miles. Okay, so we found and pulled up on a site, and it looks okay, but at the same time this looks a little bit sketchy. There's obviously a very large part of the site which is permanent pitches, which is quite normal. There's a section which isn't really separated off from the road as such, security wise, where there's one big Heimer that's obviously parked up. But then there's another section which looks like a storage yard for caravans, apart from one or two of the caravans have got an awning and chairs and stuff out and electrical hookups and everything, along with like a whole load of scrap metal in a corner. But something about this doesn't quite feel right, so I'm going to follow my instinct and we're going to try a different one. Maybe this is perfectly okay, but better safe than sorry, and I just don't think this looks right. So on to the next site. So we're in Landshut now, and looks much more like a normal kind of campsite. Deb has just gone off to reception. Looks like she can't work out if it's open, and we'll see if we can get on. Oh, she's disappeared around the back. Call you back in a second when we know what's happening.
Feels like we're in a carnival where everyone's too. Right, she pointed at it, so I think she's going to go. We're going to go. I think we're going to park here probably.
So we're just about to go into Austria. We decided to press on today, and for a motorhome or any vehicle over 3.5 tonne, our van is up plated to 4 tonnes, 4,000 kilos. You need a go box to go into Austria to use the toll motorways. So I've done a load of research online. I hope I've got all the right documentation, and see if we can go and get one if they sell them here. There are outlets in Austria, but also some in Germany, and I think we're in Germany still. That sounds like a stupid statement, but we've been back and forth across the border because of Schengen and stuff. You can't actually tell. Anyway, wish me luck, because I'm going to go and try and get a go box. Okay, so this is a go box. It goes on the dash. If this gets red as you go under certain bridges and so on, and it tracks the mileage. So basically, when we're driving along, that should hopefully go beep as we go past a toll meter or whatever they do on the gantries and stuff. Anyway, we're going to work out where we're going next. I'm guessing we're going to somewhere in Austria now. We were going to stay in Germany for a day, but looks like we're going to Austria. Looks like we're going to Lidl in Austria. Okay. Deb's just see if we got space to this site. Strategy wise, looked on Park for night and just headed towards it. We're going to hopefully stay for 2 nights, but it depends if we've got space. Can't tell it.
Can you grab the passports, please?
Passports? Yeah. As I was saying, Deb needed passports, which is a good sign because basically it means we've got on. We're going to stop here for 2 nights. From a strategic point of view, we haven't got an exact destination, so we've guesstimated that over the 24 nights to 25 days of travelling, we need to do around about 120 miles to 130 miles per day. So far we've done like 700 and odd miles, so we've done 250 mile days for a couple of days. Today I think it's probably going to work out 140 miles. I think it was about 130 yesterday, so we're well over our quota. And we are starting to feel it. So we've had 4 days of constant travelling. We've seen stuff and done bits and pieces on the way. We're near the kind of Danube. We're in Austria now, and it's like, I'm not sure how much this place is, but we're just going to spend 2 nights here, chill out for 2 nights, and then we're heading down through Austria towards Slovenia. But I suspect we'll stop again once or twice in Austria on the way. We were thinking of stopping at the place we were last night for 2 nights, but the weather was bad today, so it didn't seem to make sense just sitting there on the site in the rain. So instead we pressed on, made use of the wet day to travel, and it should be fairly bright tomorrow. Here's hoping. Okay, so a few other things in terms of driving in Austria. If you're in a vehicle over 3.5 tonne, then according to my research, you're limited to 43 miles an hour on the open road. So in Germany, it was 50 was our max speed on just general open road. On the motorway, we're limited to 50 in Austria. in Germany, where it was 60 off 63, I think, technically, on the motorways when you're over 3.5 ton. If you're under 3.5 ton, I'll put in the notes on the screen just in case I'm wrong, but I believe if you're under 3.5 ton, pretty much it's the same, whatever the speed limit is, it's the same as a car basically. So whatever the speed limit is, that's what you can do. Other things to bear in mind for Austria: dash cams are illegal, to the point where I think the fine is something like 12,000 euros or something crazy like that. So if you have a dash cam, then take it off and do not use it in Austria. So there won't be much travel footage. Deb's taking some video as we're just going along the roads trying to get some nice scenery, but there won't be any dash cam footage from Austria because you're not allowed, they're illegal. So I don't think that's very well known. So if you're coming to Austria, if you're British, you've probably got a dash cam, take it off the screen. Apparently it's actually illegal to even own one, but if you take it off, put it away in a cupboard somewhere, and then you should be good. So this is the following morning. The weather has improved drastically today. Lovely and sunny, and it's completely changed the look and feel of this place. There's a lake right beside the campsite, and yeah, absolutely beautiful. So we're having a day of rest, going to do a bit of filming for some other projects, and then we'll press on tomorrow. So far, this is the 4th campsite, none of them planned, and actually they've all been pretty good. Haven't struggled to get on. So in terms, as an experiment in terms of not booking, if you haven't done it this way before, it is quite anxiety inducing in terms of not knowing where you're going to be stopping. But this is mid-August, height of the holiday season I think over here, and we've managed to get onto each site without any problem. I think if we'd left it a little bit later on some, we'd have struggled, but generally speaking there's enough sites around. So yeah, this looks like the way forward. And yesterday got to take the paddleboard out on the lake. First time ever trying a paddleboard. Wife bought one for my birthday, and that's the sort of thing you can kind of do in Europe because there's a lot more lakes and rivers and stuff like that nearby to campsites. Today we're heading down towards Graz, I think. Campsite down there. We haven't booked it at all. We've got one in mind, so we just aim for that and see what happens. There's others nearby if not. Rain came down last night. It was raining when we got here. Yesterday was nice and sunny, and last night went to the loo, and just as about to come back from the loo, heavens absolutely open. The doors were open on the van and everything. So yeah, things got soaked last night, but heading off should only be about 110-120 miles today, so nice easy journey. So just left the campsite and went over a bridge over, I'm pretty sure it's the Danube. It's always the Danube around here. We need some shopping. We looked down and there was a spa along the actual side of the Danube. Spa's literally just behind me. So this is what we need to practice more in terms of if we see somewhere like this and we're not rushed for time, just pop in and spend 5-10 minutes looking around. But absolutely beautiful morning. Can't get better than this. So we're heading down to Graz, and we've got onto the motorways now. The Go box is working. Every time you go on the certain gantries, you can see little cameras things hanging down from them, little sensors. And every time we go over the gantries, the Go box beeps. And every time it does that, we say, there goes some more money, because that's basically what it's doing. It's monitoring the mileage. But only applicable for vehicles over 3.5 tonne. So stopped at motorway services here. Haven't checked out the services themselves. Parking is good. Nowhere near as crowded as it was in Germany. And some absolutely spectacular views. Whilst looking for cans of Coke in the Spa in Austria, this is, found this, which is Almendudler. Apparently it's a blend of grape juice, apple juice and alpine spices. Here goes. Yeah, that's going to be an acquired taste. It's like a weird Vimto. Anyway, when in Rome, So it's Thursday evening now. We're at our, I guess you'd call it our destination country. We're in Croatia. We left Austria fairly early this morning, about 8:30, 9 o'clock. Travelled down to the border with Slovenia. Purchased a DASGO toll device because we were over 3.5 ton vehicle, so you need a DASGO for Slovenia. Check out my other video up here or there for more information about the requirements for tolls in Austria and Slovenia. We managed to screw up on the sat-nav 3 times. The first one, it was a very confusing junction in Austria, basically all on curves, and they stacked 2 or 3 junctions one after the other, so it's saying keep left and then keep right. We missed one, and then just to add insult to injury, because we missed that, got stuck on a motorway, and then they closed 3 exits, yeah, count them, 3 exits, so we had to go past 3 exits before we could come back. Not having then learnt our lesson, we then did a similar thing later on in Slovenia, where we missed a junction. We kind of went wrong there, and also once we'd crossed the border into Croatia, different toll system there, you basically just pull up and pay. In Croatia we screwed that one up and ended up coming back on the same toll road we'd just gone down, so we had to pay to go up a toll road and then pay to go back down it again. But we're here now at a lovely site. There's a pool on site and we're literally parked next to the pool. So we're going to spend 2 nights here, going to Zagreb tomorrow, and then we're heading to Rijeka because of the other film that I'm making. Then probably head on down Croatia and then come back up again, obviously once we hit the point of no return in terms of days. So on a negative note, we weren't in exactly a great place yesterday because this whole trip was a new thing for us. We've caravan for years, and I've toured and stuff before, but it was a new idea for us in terms of just not having any real plans. And I think we've kind of screwed up from that point of view in terms of having no plans for the sites is fine, and certainly we've had no difficulty, touch wood, getting onto sites. However, by having no plans at all, we didn't have any real kind of focus, and if you're not careful you can get into a mindset of just like chasing the miles and getting further and further. All we're doing is traveling, and what we really want to do is travel and along the way stop and see something. So we're changing it up a bit in terms of if we need to cover some mileage and we're going to do like a 200, 250, 300 mile day or something, then that will be very much a distance day, and that's the objective, and we just kind of go for it and get the mileage covered. If it's not, if it's just a transit day between sites, then what we're going to try and do is aim to see something along the way. So ideally a bit of research and find something along the way, and then we'll see that before we actually get to the next site, even if it's just a question of see a random town and just drive into the town and wander around. So that's going to change things up a little bit, but generally speaking, never been to Slovenia before. We drove through it. We'll spend a little bit more time when we go back. Never been to Croatia before, and from what we've seen so far, it's a really lovely country with really lovely people. So that's it for tonight. Tomorrow Zagreb, and who knows what next. Okay, so we're just in Zagreb, the capital of Croatia, and it's good to have something to do when you're sightseeing. And bizarrely, last year when we were in Sweden, we got Eric, and he travelled around Sweden with us, and he's travelled with us since. That was in a caravan, now in a campervan. And since we were in Zagreb, the capital of Croatia, we thought it would be funny to get a wife for Eric. Well, girlfriend, we'll see how it works out. So we've seen some fridge magnets, but they've only half the front face. And I'm not sure if Eric would accept half a woman. So we're looking around, we think we've found some, and weird way of spending the day searching for a girlfriend for a 2-inch troll. So trying to find the Museum of Broken Relationships. Yes, apparently that is a thing. And going up this huge flight of steps, which is probably why relationships broke up in the first place. So I've just been to the Museum of Broken Relationships. Sounds like a really weird idea for a museum, and it is, but it's really good. It's
both kind of heartwarming, funny in places. It's basically a collection of mementos from broken relationships with descriptions written by the donatees.
Give her, take us some money.
Right. Right, check in here. Check that too.
Right, so we need to find somewhere to stop. There is parking here. Right, miles. You put it here?
Yeah.
I'll hold it anyway if you can.
Let's go. Good. Would that just help?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the video I didn't want to make. We've just come through the border from Croatia into Slovenia and got a check transmission engine warning. This is on a 9-speed Ducato. So switched it off and on again twice just in case it's an intermittent engine management warning. I'll let it cool down, give it a rest for a bit and then turn it off and on again another 3 or 4 times, see if that clears it. If not, we're going to be using breakdown recovery. Okay, so this is effectively the end of our unplanned tour video and also the unplanned tour itself. If you want to find out why, then check the link to the video wherever I put it in terms of why we're cutting this journey short. I'll also put it at the end of this video as a main link. How's it gone? Right, so in terms of finding sites, our plan was to not have dedicated sites and dates that we were trying to get to. From that perspective, it's worked out really well. We've stayed at 5, 6, maybe 7 sites now, I think it is, and none of them have been booked up in advance. We've basically just rocked up. The earlier you find a site, the better or safer it is in terms of getting a pitch, but we've certainly turned up at sites and seen other people turn up at sites at like 6, 7 o'clock and not had a problem getting on. And that's in Germany, Austria, Slovenia and Croatia. Where it's not worked so well is that our plan was kind of like to tour along and kind of do as we pleased, and as we saw stuff, drop in and have a look and see it. We've done a bit of that. So what we're planning on doing next time when we hopefully get back on the road is actually looking at things we want to see, so effectively tourist destinations, so whether it's a museum or a big lake, waterfall, cable car, whatever, and actually then look at going to those as part of the trip between sites. And I think especially if you've come from, like us, a camping or caravanning background where the tendency is to focus on a site, find a nice site because you'll be there for 5, 6, 7 nights. You don't want a grotty site to stay on. So you focus on the site because it's then easy, wherever the site happens to be within reason, you can then travel out because obviously you have a car and it's easy to then just jump in the car and drive 50 miles to see something and then drive back again. With a campervan or motorhome, that's not so easy to do that, so it's much easier to see stuff along the way. So you need to kind of flip your mindset from focusing on the site of where you want to stay and instead focus on what you want to see and do, and then just find the sites as you go along around that. And that's been a learning curve for us. It didn't spoil the holiday, but it made the first part of the holiday not flow quite as well as we hoped it would, but it's all part of the learning experience. So I hope you found this video interesting or helpful. If you have, then please do hit that like button. If you're interested in seeing other videos I make, especially that one of why we're cutting this journey short, then please do subscribe to my channel. But most of all, from here in Slovenia, thanks for watching.